The big day had finally come. After years of sending signals into space, humans got an answer. The Galactic Council had sent a ship to meet Earth's representatives. Captain Susan Miller stood on the bridge of the Intrepid, Earth's newest and best spaceship. She took a deep breath as her ship approached the meeting point just beyond Mars orbit. This was humanity's big moment. Susan had imagined this day many times. Handshakes, or whatever aliens did instead. Trade deals, and learning about new technology. "Captain, the alien ship is coming out of light speed," said Lieutenant Eric Johnson, his eyes fixed on the radar screen. Susan nodded and straightened her blue uniform. "All crew at attention. Remember your training. First impressions matter." Dao. Alien ship appeared suddenly, sleek, shiny, and 3 times bigger than the Intrepid. It looked almost alive, with curves and colors that shifted like oil on water. "Open communication channels," Susan ordered. "Send the welcome message we prepared." The Intrepid sent the carefully crafted greeting, containing math, music, and simple language that Earth's best minds had created. Susan waited, her heart beating fast. The reply came as a blinding flash of green light. The Intrepid rocked violently. Alarm screamed. Crew members fell from their seats. "What was that?" Susan shouted, grabbing her chair to stay upright. "They fired on us." Eric's voice cracked, with shock. "No warning." Susan couldn't believe it. "Damage report." "Shields holding at 65%, Captain," another crew member called out. "But one more hit like that." Susan's training kicked in. "Keep channels open, try all frequencies, tell them we come. In peace." The alien ship glowed again, ready to fire. "Evasive action," Susan ordered. The Intrepid moved sideways just as another green beam shot past, missing by meters. Finally, the main screen flickered. An alien face appeared, blue-skinned with 4 blinking eyes on a long head. Behind it, other aliens moved about on what looked like the bridge of their ship. "I am Ambassador Orcs of the Galactic Council," the alien said through some kind of translator. Its voice sounded like metal scraping on glass. "Human vessel, your species is not welcome in space. The Council has studied your broadcasts for decades. You are too violent and unpredictable." Susan stood tall. "Ambassador, I'm Captain Susan Miller of Earth. We came to meet you peacefully. Why did you attack us?" The alien's eyes blinked in different patterns. "Peaceful? Your history shows nothing but war. Your entertainment glorifies fighting. Your nations still point weapons at each other. The Council has decided. Earth is under quarantine. Return to your planet and remain there." "That's not fair," Susan said, trying to keep her voice calm. "Yes, we have made mistakes, but we've also made progress. We create art, music." "Enough!" Korix cut her off. "You will return now or be destroyed. This meeting is over." The screen went dark. "Captain, they're charging weapons again," Eric shouted. Susan hesitated only for a second. Everything she knew about first contact protocols said to avoid conflict at all costs. But her ship and crew were in danger. "Shields to maximum. Arm weapons, but do not fire unless I give the order," she said firmly. The next blast hit them hard. The lights flickered. Smoke rose from one console. "Shields down to 30%, Eric reported. "One more hit will finish us." Susan made the hardest decision of her life. Return fire, target their weapons only. The Intrepid launched its missiles and fired its railguns. By galactic standards, Earth's weapons were primitive. Metal projectiles and nuclear warheads rather than energy beams and plasma. Everyone on the bridge watched the view screen in silence, expecting their attacks to bounce harmlessly off the alien ship's advanced shields. Instead, the missiles tore through as if nothing was there. The railgun shells punched huge holes in the alien vessel's side. Explosions rippled across its beautiful hull. "Direct hits," Eric said in disbelief. "Their shields, they didn't stop anything." The alien ship listed to one side, clearly damaged. Lights flickered across its surface. The screen came on again. Ambassador Korix looked shocked, his blue skin now pale. "Impossible," he hissed. "Your weapons are primitive. They should not have penetrated our defenses." Susan was just as surprised, but didn't show it. "We didn't want this fight, Ambassador. You fired first. We defended ourselves." Now can we please talk properly? Corix's four eyes blinked rapidly. The council must reassess. We will withdraw to report this unexpected development. The alien ship slowly turned away, limping back into deep space. Its engines glowed weakly as it disappeared. Susan finally allowed herself to breathe. The bridge was silent, except for the beeping of computers and the hiss of fire suppression systems. What just happened? Eric asked, breaking the silence. How did we hurt them so badly? Susan shook her head. I don't know, but I think humanity just sent an important message to the galaxy. She looked at the stars on the view screen. Something in the universe had just shifted. Earth was supposed to be the newcomer, the weak one, but somehow they had won their first space battle against a supposedly superior enemy. Set course for Earth, Susan ordered. We need to report this to headquarters immediately. The galaxy just got a lot more complicated. As the Intrepid turned homeward, Susan couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Humanity had shown the stars that they weren't helpless, that they could fight back. Whether that was good or bad remained to be seen. But one thing was certain. No one in the galaxy would underestimate humans again. 2 days after the Intrepid returned to Earth, Dr. Alan Wright sat in his small lab deep under the Nevada desert. Around him were rocks, metal pieces, and strange machines that hummed and blinked. He had worked here for 12 years, studying a weird rock that fell from space. Now everyone wanted to talk to him. Dr. Wright, they're ready for you, said a young soldier at the door. Alan sighed and took off his glasses to clean them. His work had been top secret for years. Nobody cared about it until now, until Captain Miller's ship somehow damaged an alien vessel that should have been untouchable. The meeting room was packed. Military officers in uniforms covered with medals sat next to serious-looking government people in suits. At the head of the table sat President Nathan Patel, looking tired but alert. Dr. Wright, the president said, please tell everyone what you told me on the phone. Alan cleared his throat. He wasn't used to so many important people staring at him. In 2031, a meteor crashed in Antarctica, he began, showing pictures on a screen. Inside it, we found a new element we called Element 137. It doesn't exist naturally on Earth. I've been studying it since they dug it up. He clicked to the next slide, showing a black rock that seemed to swallow light. At first, we thought it was just strange. But then we noticed something odd. When we placed advanced electronic devices near it, they failed. The more advanced the technology, the worse the effect. General Patricia Coleman leaned forward. Are you saying this rock kills technology? Alan nodded. In simple terms, yes. Element 137 creates a field that messes up certain energy patterns. Basic things like normal electricity work fine. But quantum fields, advanced energy shields, and high-tech weapons just fall apart. The room was silent. Alan continued. When we built the Intrepid and our other spaceships, we mixed small amounts of Element 137 into the metal. It made the hull stronger. We didn't know it would also make our weapons able to cut through alien shields. President Patel stood up and walked to the window. So you're telling us that by complete accident we created the perfect weapon against aliens who are more advanced than us? The more advanced they are, the more our Element 137 hurts them? Yes, sir, Alan said. It's like, imagine someone built the most advanced computer in the world, but it crashes when exposed to a simple magnet. The alien's technology is so advanced that our primitive Element 137 is its weakness. The military people started whispering to each other. Alan saw excitement in their eyes. Vice Admiral Karen Foster spoke up. The aliens will come back. They'll want to know how we hurt their ship. And they'll bring friends, added General Coleman. President Patel turned from the window. Dr. Wright, how much of this Element 137 do we have? About 6 tons, sir. We've been collecting it from small meteor strikes for years. Nobody knew what it was for until now. Can we make weapons with it? Shields? Something to protect Earth if they come back in force? Alan nodded. We already have the designs. We just need to build them. President Patel looked around the room. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's clear what we need to do. The aliens think we're primitive savages. They tried to bully us. Now we know their weakness. I say we use it. He pointed at General Coleman. I want defense systems built around this element, space stations, satellites, everything we can manage. Then, he turned to Alan. Doctor, you're now the head of Project SHIELD. You'll have all the resources you need. Finally, he addressed everyone. And I want to send a message to this Galactic Council. Earth is not to be threatened. We know their weakness now. If they come in peace, we'll talk. If they come for war, he paused. They'll regret it. 1 week later, Earth sent a message to space. It was broadcast on all the frequencies the alien ship had used. The message showed diagrams of new weapons built with Element 137 and said, Earth is protected. We prefer peace, but we are ready for war. The choice is yours. In space terms, it was like a caveman telling a room full of scientists that he found a way to make all their fancy computers explode with a stone. 3 days later, Earth got an answer. The Galactic Council wanted to talk. Lisa Chen looked at herself in the mirror and took a deep breath. Today was the big day. After 3 months of messages back and forth, the Galactic Council had finally agreed to meet with humans face to face. As Earth's first ambassador to space, Lisa felt the weight of all humanity on her shoulders. Ready? Asked Paul Wilson, Earth's top spy master, standing at the door of her quarters on the spaceship Unity. Lisa nodded and smoothed her simple blue suit. As ready as I'll ever be. The Unity had traveled for 2 weeks to reach the Galactic Council's main station, a huge ring-shaped structure floating in deep space. Through the windows, Lisa could see hundreds of alien ships coming and going. Remember, our plan, Paul said as they walked down the corridor. They think we're just dumb apes with clubs. Let them keep thinking that, except for the part where our clubs can break their fancy toys. Lisa smiled. I've been practicing my poker face. When they reached the station, guards led them through shining hallways. Aliens of all shapes and sizes stared at the humans. Some looked almost human. Others were totally strange. Floating clouds, walking crystals, and things Lisa couldn't even describe. Finally, they reached a massive round room with seats rising up like a bowl. Hundreds of alien representatives sat watching them. In the center were 7 special seats for the most powerful aliens, the High Council. Humans of Earth, said a tall being made of shifting crystal. Its voice echoed around the room without it seeming to speak. I am Counselor Xenix of the Aluxians. You stand before us after attacking a council ship. What do you have to say? Lisa stepped forward. She had practiced this moment many times. Respected counselors, we did not attack first. Your ship fired on our vessel without warning or reason. We simply defended ourselves. Angry noises filled the room. A bug-like alien with 4 arms stood up. You were not invited to join Space Society. Your kind is too violent. We have watched your broadcasts. You make war constantly. That may be true, Lisa replied calmly. Humans have fought many wars. But we're learning, we're growing. And more importantly, your ship shot first. The crystal alien's surface flickered with colors. The council decides who is worthy of joining our community. Your species was judged and found wanting. Lisa raised an eyebrow. And that gives you the right to attack us? We checked your own rules, which your ships broadcast openly. Nowhere does it say you can fire on ships just because you don't like their species. More angry noises filled the room. The crystal alien's colors flashed faster. Besides, Lisa continued, if we're so primitive, how did our simple weapons damage your advanced ship so badly? She nodded to Paul, who stepped forward and placed a small device on the floor. It lit up and showed pictures of Element 137. This is Element 137, Lisa explained. It's a strange material we found in space rocks that fell to Earth. We discovered something interesting about it. The more advanced the technology around it, the more it disrupts that technology. She paused to let that sink in. Our ships use this element in their hulls and weapons. That's why your fancy shields failed against our primitive missiles. The more advanced your technology, the less it works against Element 137. The room exploded with noise. Aliens were standing, shouting, some even leaving their seats in panic. It took 10 minutes for order to return. "You are threatening the council," said the crystal alien, its voice colder now. "Not at all," Lisa replied. "We're explaining facts. We don't want war. We want to be left alone to develop in our own way. Earth demands to be recognized as independent, with all rights that come with that status." "And if we refuse?" asked a squid-like alien from the High Council. Paul stepped forward again. The device on the floor changed to show designs for new weapons, all using element 137. "Then we'll share this knowledge with every other primitive species you've quarantined or kept down," he said simply. "I bet there are many who would love to level the playing field." Lisa watched the High Council members exchange looks. They knew what this meant. For thousands of years, advanced species had ruled the galaxy through technological superiority. If every developing world suddenly had access to element 137, "You would cause chaos throughout the galaxy," said the crystal alien. "We would create balance," Lisa corrected. "The choice is yours. Recognize Earth as equal, or face a galaxy where your advanced technology no longer gives you all the power." The council members huddled together, talking in low voices. Lisa stood tall, waiting. She knew they had no real choice. Finally, the crystal alien turned back to her. "The council will consider your request. But know this, human. You have made dangerous enemies today." Lisa smiled politely. "And you have discovered that humanity is not as helpless as you thought. That seems like a fair trade." As they left the chamber, Paul whispered, "That went better than expected." Lisa nodded but kept her face serious until they were back on their ship. Only then did she let out a long breath. "This is just the beginning," she said. "They'll try to find ways around element 137. They'll look for weaknesses." "Then we better be ready," Paul replied, "because I don't think the galaxy will ever be the same again." 1 year after the meeting with the Galactic Council, humans had built a special place on the far side of the moon. They called it the Lunar Embassy. It was Earth's first building made to welcome visitors from other worlds. Admiral Susan Miller, who had been promoted after the Intrepid incident, stood at a big window watching alien ships arrive. They weren't council ships. These were different. 17 different species coming today, said Major Greg Adams, her helper, looking at a tablet. All of them are what the council calls primitive, like us. Susan nodded. And none of them were invited by the council to this meeting. This gathering had been Lisa Chen's idea. While studying council records, she discovered Earth wasn't the only world being kept down. Many young space-traveling species were stuck under council rules that stopped them from growing too powerful. "The Paraxians are here," Greg pointed to, a small, boxy ship docking at the station. "Their world has been forced to give minerals to council worlds for 300 years. They signed deals when they barely understood space travel." "And those ones?" Susan asked, pointing to a ship that looked like a giant seashell. "The Threll. The council put them in quarantine because they were too aggressive. Really, they just wouldn't let council ships mine their moons, which they consider holy places." Susan frowned. The pattern was clear now. The Galactic Council wasn't the helpful space government it pretended to be. It was more like a club of powerful species who kept others weak so they could take their resources. Later that day, Susan and Lisa stood in a big meeting room with representatives from all 17 visiting species. Some looked almost human. Others were very different. One was a cloud of gas that spoke through a machine, another looked like a walking tree. Lisa stepped forward to speak. She wore the blue uniform of Earth's new Space Diplomatic Corps. "Friends from the stars," she began. "Earth welcomes you not as subjects of the Council, but as equals. We've all been judged, restricted, and used by those who got to space before us." The alien visitors made various sounds of agreement. "Today, we suggest a new group, the Coalition of Sovereign Worlds. Our first act will be to share our knowledge of Element 137 and how it can help you." A tall alien with scales covering its body stood up. It was a Threll. "What you suggest is dangerous, Ambassador Chen. The Council will attack all of us if we join together. They will try, Admiral Miller said, stepping forward. But their technology won't work well against Element 137. And there are many more of us than there are of them. Dr. Alan Wright, who had come from Earth for this meeting, showed the aliens all the science about Element 137. He explained how it worked and how they could find it in their own star systems. This isn't just about defense, he said. It's about fairness. The Council has kept advanced technology from all of us. With Element 137, we can level the playing field. The aliens talked among themselves. Some were excited, others scared. Challenging the Council meant risking everything. A small, furry alien who looked a bit like a cat with 4 arms spoke up. My people, the Zinthi, have suffered under Council resource contracts for generations. Our children go hungry while our planet's metals go to Council worlds. We will join your coalition. One by one, the other species agreed. By the end of the day, all 17 had signed the coalition charter. It wasn't just an agreement to share Element 137. It was a promise to help each other, to trade fairly, and to stand together against Council bullying. As the alien ships left the moon, each carrying the knowledge of Element 137, Lisa stood with Susan near the window. Do you think we just saved humanity or put it in more danger? Lisa asked quietly. Susan watched the ships disappear into space. Maybe both, but at least now we're not alone. Back on Earth, President Patel met with his advisors. When he heard about the successful meeting, he smiled for the first time in weeks. How long until the Council finds out, he asked. They probably already know, said Paul Wilson, who had returned from the moon. Their spies are everywhere. And how will they respond? Paul looked grim. They won't attack right away. They'll try to divide us first, offer deals to some coalition members but not others. When that fails, they might use force. Are we ready? More ready every day. Our moon bases have Element 137 defenses. We've started building a real space fleet, and now we have allies. President Patel walked to a map of the solar system on his wall. He touched Earth, a small blue dot. Just a few years ago, we thought. We were alone in the universe, he said. Now we're changing the balance of power in the galaxy. He turned back to his advisors. Make sure every coalition world gets everything they need. This only works if we stand together. Across the galaxy, on 17 different worlds, alien leaders looked at the same information Earth had shared. Some were afraid. Many were hopeful. All understood that a new age had begun. The coalition of the overlooked was born. 5 years passed. The coalition of sovereign worlds grew from 17 species to 50. What started as a small meeting on Earth's moon had become a major power in the galaxy. Earth had changed too. Humans built space stations, moon bases, and their first real warships. They weren't as fancy as Council ships, but they were strong and all used Element 137. Finally, the Galactic Council asked for a big meeting with the coalition. They would talk about the future of the galaxy. The meeting happened on Earth in a new building made just for this event. President Nathan Patel stood at the center with the people who started it all. Admiral Susan Miller, Ambassador Lisa Chen, Dr. Alan Wright, and General Patricia Coleman. Across from them stood the 7 High Counselors. They didn't bring many helpers this time. They didn't look as powerful as before. 5 years ago, President Patel began, you said humans were too violent for space. Today we host a meeting with 50 worlds that represent almost 1/3 of all people in the galaxy. The crystal alien Counselor Xenix pulsed with anger. Through blackmail and rebellion, you've broken a system that kept peace for 50,000 years. Peace for whom? Lisa Chen asked. The coalition worlds never knew peace. They knew only control. Dr. Wright stepped forward. We've learned something new about Element 137. Over time, its effect gets weaker as technology is made to work around it. Given enough years, your scientists will find ways to beat it. This surprised the council members. Then this meeting is useless, said the bug-like alien. We just need to wait until our ships work again. Admiral Miller smiled. Except that we've used these 5 years well. Coalition worlds now trade together, defend each other, and share culture. We've built something that will last longer than any tech advantage. President Patel raised his hand. We're not here to fight, we're here to offer peace. Equal voices for all species, fair trade, sharing technology that helps everyone. And if we say no, asked Counselor Xenix, then nothing changes right away, Patel said calmly. The coalition keeps growing. More worlds join us each month. Soon we'll be the majority of space people. By then, the council won't matter anymore. He leaned forward. This is humanity's last warning to the galaxy. We're armed and ready, but we'd rather be friends than enemies. You choose. The room went quiet. Finally, the crystal alien spoke, its voice different now. Perhaps we judged humans too quickly. Your kind has proven unexpected. Not in the ways we feared, but in ways we didn't see coming. The talks that followed lasted for months, but that moment marked the start of a new time in the galaxy. One where being advanced wasn't just about having better machines, but about working together, treating others fairly, and respecting all people. And across the stars, the story spread of how humans, when pushed into a corner, didn't choose to conquer but to connect, not to rule, but to respect everyone. Earth had given its warning to the galaxy, and in doing so, changed it forever. The end